Okay, we're getting ready to do the brake caliper here. Got everything all cleaned up over there right now, waiting to go together. So right now we're trying to figure out what kind of brake fluid we have in this thing. Right now it's some nasty looking crap in there, kind of contaminated. So we got to figure that out. So we're doing a brake fluid test to see if it's .3 or .5. So I went ahead and put some brake fluid over here on my bench over here. So this had fresh paint here that's not too old. Does not appear to affect it any. And this is 20, 30-year-old paint over here. So all I did was clean it. It's obviously not cutting the paint. So I'm going to assume that this is .5. So we're going to go ahead and drain all this stuff out of here. Scoop it out. Get all this junk out of here. Bring that garbage can over closer. Where's that container we had over here? Right here. Hazmat area. Okay, go ahead and dump this out here. And let this drain. Okay, it's draining pretty good. Spike needs to angle my way to drain all this. Nice, right over my strap. My favorite place to drain shit on. There we go. This bike's going to have to lean to the left a little bit. So we need to have the master cylinder angled to the left downhill, so everything will drain, and also the air will come out to here. Right now, with these bars on here, it's level or slightly the other way, it looks like. Okay, that's all cleaned out of there.
Appears to be, yes.
Okay, so let's go ahead and clear all this junk out of here. Where's that rubber tipped air nozzle at? It's over here somewhere. Go see if I put it back. Remember, I cleaned it. What I'm going to do, I'll put air in here. I'm going to blow this whole line out and get all this nasty fluid out of here. All right, come over here. Where's the other one at? Give me that one over there. Okay, go ahead and put a towel around the air line down there. I'm going to blow this thing straight out. Now if you blow in the small hole, that's on the pressure side of the system, it'll blow through. Ready?
Yeah.
Feel anything?
Nope, I don't feel shit.
Should have something. Okay, everything coming out?
Yeah, a little bit.
Still coming?
One more.
Clean?
Yep.
All right. So I blew everything out of the pressure side there. Here you go. Air comes in handy at times. Okay, so that should get everything out of there. Actually, if we torque the bars a little bit, I think we can get this thing above level. Yeah. Where's that little piece of 1/4-inch wood I had earlier?
What?
I just need something, like cardboard, anything. I need to put something underneath this bike. Perfect. Okay, put it on this side of the frame over here. We're gonna lean the bike over. Ready? Do that again, double it up. Okay. Okay, that gave me a little bit of an angle there. So now this is actually going downhill slightly. Pretty close to being level, but close. Okay, that'll work for now. Okay, so we get all the fluid out of this one now. Okay, I made a little bit more mess underneath that. Because now I got my hands all full of goo. Okay, we're going to assume that that's dot 5, and that's what this fluid here is. So I'm going to go ahead and clean all this stuff up here. Get ready for assembly. So this is a new O-ring kit. So we have, these are the fat O-rings. These are the pressure O-rings. Camera. And these here are the sealing O-rings, which keep the dust and crap out. So if you look at the lip in there, you have a big fat lip or groove right down here, and then you have a little thin groove up here on the top. So that's where the two O-rings go. And these little two right here, these are the pressure ones that go between the caliper halves right here that seal the house up so you don't have a leak between the two sides. Now two of these here we had to file on a little bit because they had the groove right here. Turn the light off for that. So right there you can see the groove. So I hit that with a real fine file, which is right here. Nice real dull file. So we went ahead and knocked off the burr right there. So now you can't, doesn't catch on anything. So it's got two of them on each side, one on each side for two. On each one of these two pistons didn't want to come out. So way to deal with those. Okay, here you go. So I always like putting a little, instead of using Vaseline or something else for the fluid, I just use the brake fluid as a lubricant. Pretty much put it in there. Do it. Where's that bleeder screw at? We can get the bleeder screw back in here for this side. Go back. There it goes.
So you could use Vaseline in there?
Petroleum jelly.
It's petroleum based.
Yeah, petroleum jelly. Not petroleum base, you can't use oils or stuff, but Vaseline you can use. I don't like having grease. You saw that thick grease that was behind these pistons before? Yeah. Some kind of assembly grease. The way I look at it, you're putting brake fluid in it. So what's wrong with using brake fluid for the lubricant? Because that's what you got going in it anyway. There we go. I know there's some in there somewhere in that container. So I'm just going to lubricate it with what is natural for it. It's naturally lubricated by the brake fluid, so that's what we're going to use. So just get it all nice and wet. We're going to stick in the groove. Got the upper one over here. Goes in the top groove. There it goes. Kind of like putting piston rings in, but the opposite direction. Okay, after they're in there, you make sure you got a good coat in there of fluid. Rag. Use a clean rag to then any oil residue in it from cleaning the bike with. Makes a difference. Okay, same thing. Pop it in. Do you hear it pop?
Yes.
So you don't want to be forcing it. If you're forcing it, you can be bending or doing something you want. So you don't want no twist in there or anything stupid going on. Should just drop right in with no problem. Pretty much goes in by itself. And once they're in there, you look at it, make sure they definitely are in there good. Okay, then we take the piston, put a little lube on it, and hopefully it pops right in, goes down. I'm going to have to do a little friendly persuasion on it. Idea is these things should just pop right in on their own without having to force them. Okay, so we're going to find the appropriate socket here. That'd be a good one. So this I can just put a little force on it. Roll it around until you find a center point. There it goes. Pops in. Kind of like I put those pistons in the cylinders of the rings. You just gotta kind of find a spot where it's straight. Here, it popped in. And pop. So that took what, about 10 pounds of force at most. That's all you really be putting on these. Okay, now wipe off all the excess so we don't have any dirt sticking in anything. Okay, so that house done. Pretty straightforward. This one you do the same thing with. Alright. So you pretty much just pop in there on their own. You just kind of not quite in there, you pop them in. This one dropped in too far, popped out of the groove. Back up, goes right in the groove. Make sure they're in there equal. Kind of a messy job, isn't it?
Yeah.
Especially I don't like brake fluid on my hands.
Yeah.
Don't care about oil. Don't like brake fluid. I'd rather have battery acid on my hands than brake fluid. Battery acid doesn't really hurt you when it's on your hands. It takes about 5 or 10 minutes before it even feels in my hands. Let's talk about how nasty that stuff is. It isn't.
Excuse me.
Okay, well, these here are the two that have nicks in them. Eesh. Gooey. Okay. Goes. That was a little more stubborn. Okay, we got our 2 O-rings that go in here. And those we gotta get some lube on those. It has to go into the groove. It's actually a counter bore. And make sure it's flat and not twisted. You definitely want to make sure it's in the groove. See how it's in the groove there?
Yep. It's in the groove.
Groovy. Alright, we got our clip. Tit side is up. Remember?
Yes.
We got our new brake pads. Look how nice they don't fit. Must be a left and a right. Not sure why it would matter. But obviously it does. I'm sure there's supposed to be some kind of a grease on that, which I have elsewhere, not here. This here goes right in there like that. Which bolts go in this one? I don't remember which ones are which, do you?
Those, the 2 outer ones are the
These two?
mounts, I think. 2 out.
Yeah, that's it. That's how it's supposed to go. Okay. Our grease on there. You know where your disc brake mounting grease is at?
No, I don't. Hey, this camera's getting hot.
Yep, that light's on. Turn the light off. Yeah, no, it's not so hot. I couldn't find the fancy brake grease, but anti-seize works great for everything. It's basically a copper coated style antifreeze or anti-seize. Somewhere I got some of that crap. As you can tell, I rarely use it. That ought to be nice and messy when I go to force these in. I can just see my fingers being covered with silver crap here pretty soon.
Anti-seize, does it have graphite in it?
It's got a lot of everything in it. That's why it's good. Okay, here's our small little ratchet. Trick is not to get me all full of it. See how long that lasts before I get dirty. There it goes. Slick as crap. Look how I clean that up. There it goes. Okay. Where's our 2 bolts at? Right here. Obviously that's a through bolt. Okay, which size are these? These are 10?
Yes.
10 millimeter. Oh, there's my good one. This guy, I don't know how much torque I'm using on it. Okay. Appropriate torque. Tight. Like the appropriate torque.
Yep.
That's the big one. Make sure it's clean. Yeah, my guess is it doesn't want to go in there very well. It appears that I have done something wrong. Not sure what. The bolt's going way deeper than what you think they would go. Thought the brake pads had the same hole size. Something ain't right. I'm pretty sure I know what the problem is. It's the operator. So, if in doubt, take it apart and see what you screwed up. If you force it, you're just going to break it. Okay, so what did I do wrong? Okay. I think what I did was I had it pinched in between the 2 caliper pieces here. Those 2 spring tabs.
Yeah.
That'd be my guess. This does a lot of tension on it. Still don't know which pad's which. And I got it correctly though, because you look in there. Now you gotta turn the light back on. You can see how this is wide open on this side, and you got spots over here where it hits. So you see you get this square tang, so that's going to go in the spot where there's room for it. So you don't need a stupid instruction sheet. Just have to think. Problem is I shove in this screw. It wants to kick the other pad over too. Which I'm going to stop in a minute if it keeps screwing me, but put a pad in between these pads. That worked really good when that wasn't even in there. That one a lot easier. It definitely likes to jam in there, doesn't it? And that one just slid right over. Okay, I'm done screwing with that. Where's the old pad?
Are those holes too small in the pads?
No, shouldn't be. Here's an old pad though. I think it's just a spring tension. No, they're big. Just spring tension. This will keep the pads from spreading. So it's jamming in there like that. It's fighting me a little bit, so let's fight back. Two can play at that game. Okay, first problem is you gotta get this pad in. You gotta jam something in there to keep them from getting, they don't blow. Of course, the pad's too thick. There it goes. Now we can put the other half in. Compress that spring to get it in there. There it goes. Compress the other one down. It is a stiff spring. Tight. Tight. Okay. Now we're in there correctly, see? Okay, so now we're ready to put it on the bike. First I'm going to put a little black paint on here so it blends in a little bit.
I think it looks better that way.
Leave it like that. Give it some flash.
The bike's got, it's black and white.
Oh, I like it
Black
that way
and
anyway.
silver, so.
Yeah, we'll leave it that way. It looks better anyway, I think. Show you did something. Of course, somebody defaced it up here. So leave it El Natro.
Yep. Until somebody heathenized it, like you said.
That's right. I don't know who would do that. See, you like it like that? Leave it nice and shiny?
Yep.
Okay. We'll leave it shiny. Okay, get the rest of the wheel stuff ready to go and we'll be back.